Wi-Fi and sign in with your credentials.
Except for my phone doesn't work. It doesn't connect to the
Yeah, it's weird. I'm so glad.
That's why I wanted to get that. Well, borrow this.
I actually started.
Yeah, when I did my Bible, the people told me that it's like this long, drawn-out process, and you have to sit there and reconfigure like in a computer for it.
I actually started doing the Google Plus Hangouts from home because when the new operating system for Mac came out, the Wi-Fi would connect. So I couldn't, if I can't connect to Wi-Fi here, I can't teach here. So yeah, and it's actually the signal's much better now too. So this is another one. That's a recut trailer. Kind of funny.
I'm from the future. I came here in a time machine that you invented.
The so-called Dr. Brown is dangerous. He's a real nutcase. If you hang around with him, you're going to end up in big trouble.
Yes, sir. So what do we do?
Well, I hope I'm not disturbing anything.
Oh, this is my Doc. My uncle. Doc Brown. He sent me a letter. Who the hell is Clara?
All you have to say is I don't love you and I don't want to see you anymore.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew you had to act a certain way, but when you got there, you didn't know if you could go through with it?
How long did it with you? And I don't even understand.
I have to live my life according to what I believe is right.
So, yeah, not only a play and video, but on the title all worked out very well there. So again, the idea that editing can change so much is the point we're making there. And there's another one that turns The Shining into a sitcom, so that was kind of funny too. Okay, so this is kind of this is an example of a couple of students editing some video, and in this this is raw footage here, just 3 minutes and 43 seconds of raw footage. I don't know if I necessarily want that. Okay, good, it's still there. Okay, so it's a couple students just filming, and this isn't. I don't suggest that this is how you shoot video with just like one continuous stream of footage like they're doing, where they're filming a little something and then running to try and catch up. Yeah, it's freezing not because of them, but because of YouTube viewers. Well, it's that idea, but they're creating a video about it. So they're filming scene by scene here, chronologically without stopping. So when we talked about last week about production and the way to film stuff, the way to take video footage, this would go kind of against that. But I like to use it as an example of just a bunch of raw footage. And they take the different shots of the same of the same thing happening. So he puts the wallet down again so they can get a different angle of him finding the wallet. Of course, because they're the Trader Joe's, they have to wait for people to pass. And I'm bummed out that the sound's not there because all during the summer, like, no, try this. Wait, and then you get insight into what they're doing. But so here we go, a little cutaway. So when we talk about taking shots from different angles, we had that cutaway of him looking at the wallet, and they just redid that scene from a medium shot, from medium distance. Sorry, I don't want anyone getting seasick here. It's a little rough. Yeah. You can't watch like Cloverfield or anything like that. Yeah, getting the wipes out of. Okay, so that was and there's another. See, this is always gets you when you show YouTube videos in the classroom to kids. There's always one explosive farts in the hood. There's always one. You can have a bunch of things that are totally appropriate, and you get one, right? So yeah, exactly. It's the worst. So 3 minutes and 42 seconds of footage reduces down after editing to 22 seconds. Okay, so this is actually now it broken down and telling our story in 22 seconds. Okay, and that was just created by kids. They just created it, so they put the music in there and all that. So I mean, the idea behind editing is, and that's the funny thing. You watch movies that are 90 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. My son the other night made me sit through the stupid most recent version of the Transformers. It was 2.5 hours of my life. I cannot believe that movie was that long. It was horrible, and I'm very forgiving. It just entertained me. It doesn't even have to be smart. If I can turn my brain off and just have fun, that movie was rough. But it was 2.5 hours long, right? And so when you think about, if I have 3 minutes and 42 seconds of footage from just two kids out there with a handheld, and that reduces to 22 seconds. Think of what a 2.5 hour. How much footage they must have from a 2.5 hour movie. That's edited way down. It's so sometimes you'll get the director's cuts of things. They'll release it on DVD later, director's cuts. Like one of my favorite movies, Blade Runner. There's been 4 or 5 different director's cuts. Really, these guys just keep going back and recutting it, adding stuff, taking stuff out, adding dialogue, adding voiceover, all kinds of stuff. So, what you always see in the movie theater isn't always the director's vision. Sometimes they want it to be 90 minutes or an hour and 45. What we have under this are some different editing. I don't know why you're there. Some different editing tutorials. Okay. This first one is for iMovie for a Mac. Okay. So for a MacBook, this is about a 32-minute, little over 32 minutes of a tutorial on iMovie. And you can, I mean, these are just ones that I found that I like. But there, you can literally go on. If you've never used iMovie on your Mac before, you can go on YouTube and find dozens of tutorials on how to use it. It's pretty simple. Here are 2 different tutorials on using iMovie on your iPad. And this is for iOS 7. I don't know if they've changed it now that they've upgraded to iOS 8, which just happened. I think it's still the same version of iMovie though. And that's what I'll be talking about with you guys today. But if you to go back and look at these are good tutorials because they're done by a teacher and they're done for students, which is cool. So the first one is on editing, and the second one is on adding titles and audio. And then there's a 11-minute tutorial on Windows Live Movie Maker here. Okay, so I've got all 3 of them covered here. These again, these 3 tutorials are all stamped and approved by me as being pretty complete, pretty good for what we're doing with them. Again, there's much more out there if you wanna dig it up. So those are the 3 the 3 main tools that we'd be looking at you guys using depending on the technology you have in front of you. There's also a if you're in your Google Drive, you can. There's a lot of ways you can connect apps to your Google Drive. If you've never done that before, it's pretty cool. So these are all just different apps besides the Google stuff that you can utilize your Google Drive for. And so they're all just different tools. Pixlr Editor is like Photoshop. It's like an online version of Photoshop. A UGEM allows you to create music and beats and things like that. There's also one called WeVideo. So anytime you want to connect anything to your Google Drive, you can always just go here and connect apps, and it'll open up a window that will have a full listing of the apps that you can connect to your drive. And one of the cool things about it is that they save to your drive, most of them. So kind of neat if you're if you're into it. If you like having all your stuff in the same place, like I do, I like it all in my Google Drive. But one of those apps is called WeVideo, and it's if the Wi-Fi or the internet where you're using it is not great, then it tends to be a little iffy. But this is an online video editor that's pretty cool and easy to use. And so basically anything you connect to your Google Drive will always ask you to connect to it. And WeVideo will add a folder in your Google Drive when you create something. And so it's just, and for some reason it's not working here, so that's. Now I think they also have an app for Android, the WeVideo app. So that's always something that you can utilize as well if you want to give it a try. Again, I think it's not quite there yet, personally. But it is something that exists. So if you have a PC and you're not digging the Windows Movie Maker experience, this could be an option.
For editing.
What's that?
For editing.
Yeah, well, that's the one that they're trying to get us to use with Chromebooks, because Chromebooks don't have a video editor on them, and so because all the apps on Chromebook they're all internet based. So anything you do on a Chromebook doesn't have any software on it except for the Chrome operating system. Everything else is connected online. So WeVideo is trying to get into the market as far as we're the one for Chromebooks, but we have Chromebooks, and I've had teachers try to use it, and it's a constant struggle. If you've got 10, 15, 20, 25 kids all trying to edit on it at the same time, yeah. It's so like I said, work in progress. In the next couple of years, I'm sure that it'll mature into a really good and useful tool. So what I'm going to ask you to do this week for this week's assignment, and we're going to go ahead and take a break from the ed vids this week because I want to give you time to mess around with the video editing. So this is all we have to do this week. And so it's the scene that you filmed last week. So you storyboarded and you shot it, and now we're going to edit it. Okay? And so, you know, you've got your person about to open a door. Person hears a sound, becomes mildly concerned, finds the door locked, searches for his or her keys, hears a sound again, becomes apprehensive. You're building tension and panic. Hopefully, I mean, you know, again, you don't have to be Hitchcock. Your talent doesn't have to be Jimmy Stewart or Rock Hudson, right? Or, you know,
didn't have to be
growing panic may wind up to be giggling your butt off. Okay, there's no grade earned for how your talent is or, you know, how you shoot or any of that right now. This is practice. Okay, so it's giving you some meat to practice grilling with. So the meat is not going to be you know, tenderloin. It's going to be, you know, some like real rough top sirloin that I got. Yeah, that's like 1 day from expiring. So that's what we're looking at here. So, and as far as the parameters go, where I say neither the character nor the audience ever sees the source of the sound, that's something you want to add, go for it. You know, if it's 98 seconds or, you know, a minute and 3/4, and, you know, whatever. It's not, you know, this is again just for you to practice. Okay, so we are going to work a little bit tonight on editing, and hopefully this works. It used to work here, and I'm hoping it still does.
If this assignment 5 is the look for next week, or is this for the list?
That's for this week. Assignment 4 is kind of what we're doing tonight. We're just kind of rough editing.
Oh, okay.
And then assignment 5 will be what's due next week. Yeah. Do you need to go?
You can give Leslie my phone because I'll send her later.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I sent myself a reminder at 2 minutes before school ended not to forget this, my dongle, because I use it in my classroom, and so I remembered that and then left my power cord. The worst.
I'd just rather be here than at Georgia Beach, so have fun. Have fun. Sometime this weekend.
Okay, so let me quickly, or as quickly as I can, connect to APU Wi-Fi.
Because I went in the other side and I was wandering Really?
All right. Well, things work.
Oh yeah, this doesn't work on Congo either. Wow. I'm the natural. Yeah. I get it.
So can you guys at home see my iPad on the screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to do a little iPad tutorial. Oh, what doesn't work?
Chromebook does not allow you to.
Oh no. It doesn't.
Actually, you have to. One of the assignments is to display your keynote.
Good luck.
And so that's why I had to borrow someone else's laptop to do like all this stuff.
Okay, so just how many of you guys are going to be using your iPad for editing? A couple of you. Okay. Okay. So basically, all of the business at the bottom of last week's web page had to do with uploading your video to a certain place. If the majority of you are using your computers, it's not a big deal to have to upload your video to a certain place. The main reason for doing that is to, and again, the tutorials are down at the bottom of the page, let me let that load, is so that you can actually access the video footage on your iPad. Okay? If you shot it with your iPad, then you're fine. The video footage is already on there. But if you're going to be bringing it from somewhere else to edit it on your iPad, now this is the APU Wi-Fi that I know and love. Come on, baby. So the idea is that wherever your video footage is, you're going to bring it into your Google Drive. Okay? Super easy to bring video into your drive. Basically, you would just create a folder in your Google Drive. Anytime you need to transport any files from one place to another, and you don't, and especially if you're transporting it to a device like an iPad or an Android tablet or your phone, okay, it's easy enough to bring video into your computer using a flash drive. But I can't plug a USB flash drive into my phone or in my iPad. So I have to figure out some way to get a file, like a big file, like a video file, from my computer or from an SD card that I would plug into my computer into my iPad. And emailing those files isn't always the best idea because a lot of times they're bigger, they're larger files. So what I'll usually do is I'll create a folder, a temporary folder, that I would call it maybe video transfer in my Google Drive, because I'm only using 12 gigs of the 115 gigabytes available in my Google Drive, so I have plenty of space. And then open up that folder. Come on, kid. There we go. Then I can find on my desktop here. Okay, I've got a bunch of video files here on my desktop, and I could capture all of them, or I could just capture a couple of them, and then I just drag them into this folder like I would into any other folder, and it'll basically load those. I mean, this one's small. It's just under a megabyte, but this one's almost 7 megabytes, which is, when you're emailing, it's just frustrating trying to email larger files sometimes. So what it'll do is it'll give me these files here in my Google Drive, and then when I'm on my iPad, I can then open my Google Drive and let me refresh my window here. And then when I open my video transfer folder, I have those files in here. And then if you press the little I down the bottom corner of the file, it will give you some options over here on the right, and the one we want to choose is right there, the Open In feature. And when I click on that, it will then give me some options to open it in something. It's got a few different options here, but in this case, since I'm using iMovie, I will just select iMovie, and it'll open up that file. It'll basically download it to my iMovie app where I can edit it. And I can choose either to create a new movie with it or pop it into an existing project. So in this case, if I have a video called Barbecue Time, it'll just drop that footage right into my iMovie editor. Okay, so it makes it, so when I talk about putting them in your Google Drive, that's what I'm talking about. And it's like you just saw, it took me a couple of minutes. Pretty easy process. Okay, so this that we're looking at now, this is iMovie for the iPad. And how many of you have edited video before? Done this? Okay, so what have you used? Okay, so you're good to go. And Sally, you've used iMovie. Have you used it on the iPad at all?
No.
Okay, same conceptually. There's some small differences, obviously, because you're dealing with a touch screen interface. But basically, and let me just go ahead and start from scratch here. So when you first open iMovie, when you open it for the first time, nope, I don't want you there. I want you here. Just lock you up. Okay. So when you open up iMovie, it'll basically have all your video clips here for you, and you can select. And again, we're just dealing with an iPad here, so it's all touch screen capacitive. So anything that I want, I'll just touch, and it'll open that up. So any of these video clips that I want, I can scroll through with my finger, right? So it's real nice and usable. If there's, I can even start my editing before I even start my movie. Before I start editing, by grabbing these little handles on either side. Okay, so when you're dealing with editing, the ends of the box that surrounds your clip, those are called handles. So these areas right here on the ends that are wider, we call those handles. And so by grabbing any of these handles, I can kind of start self-editing. I can figure out where I want it to stop, where I want it to begin. And if you do that at the beginning of iMovie with your clips and then press the heart, you can see that it put, if you look up at the top, it put a green line under just part of that video clip. And I basically favorited that part of that video clip before I even brought it into the editor. So, you know, if before you edit, you go through your clips and you say, that's the only part from that one I want, and I favorite it, and that's the only part from that one I want, and I'll favorite that. So this gives me favorited parts of clips, so that when I actually start my video, which I would do under this top area right here, I have a little ambidextrous here, go up there where it says projects. If I click on projects now, okay, these give me 2 projects that I've already started here, and if I wanted to add another one, there's a plus sign up in the top right corner. If I click that, it asks me to start a new project. Now, one of the cool things that that iMovie offers both on the Mac and on the iPad is the ability to make quick and easy trailers, movie trailers. They already have these things like formatted out. You just kind of drop in video footage or photos, and the music's already there, the transition's already there. It's something that you can have students do in a pretty short amount of time, and it's something that you can utilize in a pretty short amount of time too. That's something to look at on your own. It's pretty neat. I might have a project for you later in the term that actually utilizes that. I'm not sure if we'll have time for it though. But the one I'm going to choose is movie, because I'm going to create my movie from scratch. And it basically gives you some different options as far as themes for your movie. And what the themes deal with is pretty much your titles and your transitions. So anytime you see words on the screen, that's a title. And anytime you go from one scene to one clip to another clip, right in between those is a transition. So you're transitioning from one clip to another. And so where these themes come in is in titles and transitions. So if you were going to make a little travel log, all of your titles and things would have this kind of framework around it. And when you transition from one scene to another scene, it would have that kind of Polaroid on a map kind of transition built into it. Okay, that's usually one I choose. I kind of like to go freeform. If your kids are creating if you're creating like a newscast, or your students are creating a newscast, this one or that one's always good because it has those the bottom third, and it's all kind of built like a newscast. So, and when you see a title on the bottom like that, that's called a bottom third title. Okay, and so you know it's kind of neat to have that. But for what we're doing, you just kind of want to pick the simplest version possible. And on the iPad, it's called Simple. On the Mac, it's just the normal editing interface. Okay, and then you're going to come back to the top right, and you're going to create movie. Okay, now from this point, we're kind of this is kind of generally what most video editors look like. So if you've used Windows Movie Maker, if you're going to use it, it pretty much is they pretty much kind of all look the same. All right, and so you can see up in this area here. Okay, I've got my clips, and you can see those little green areas are segmented out there. The favorites that I already picked. All right, if a lot of video editors have their clips on the top left instead of the top right, And you could just grab it. You should be able to grab it. That's weird. Should be able to grab it and move it over. Oh well. So when I click on that clip, you can see that it gives me some options here. And one of the things that can be confusing at first about iMovie is what do all these things do? Okay, I see that little down arrow. I guess I can assume that that would drop my clip down. I see the little play head, and I know that that most likely will play my clip. If I press on those the little dots there, it gives me some other options here, and I have no idea what those do. So the big secret behind iMovie is right up here. It's this little dot with a question mark in it. Okay, and when I click that, it basically starts showing me what all the symbols mean. And I can leave that on as I edit if I want to. So now when I click on this, it shows me that the down arrow means add to project, the middle one means preview, and then the dots are more options, and then it tells me add the audio only, add as a cutaway, add as a picture-in-picture, or add as side-by-side. So by pressing on that little question mark in the top left, it now identifies what all of these symbols mean. Okay, but one of the things that I can do here is that since I have this already favorited out, I can kind of shrink my handles down to those areas, and then if I press the drop in, it'll basically drop that clip down here into my timeline. Okay, so the area that we see up here, this area in the top right, that's kind of where my clips are housed. Okay, that's where all my video footage is. And on the iPad, it's all video footage that is I'm clicking on it like it's going to do something if I click on it. Okay, up in this area, it's all the video footage that's on my iPad basically. So you'll basically have everything to choose from there. Okay, this area in the top left, that area is the viewer, okay, or the preview screen. And then this area down here on the bottom, this is the timeline. Okay, and all video editors have these three basic areas. Okay, even the most complex, the ones that they're using, to make big movies, Final Cut Pro and Avid and all those, they all have these three areas. And for basic video editing, it's all you need. You need where your media is, which is in the top right. You need some sort of a screen where you can see what things that are happening, and then you have a timeline. And you can see that as I drag along the footage in my timeline, that things in my preview screen change. And if I click on it, my handles appear again, so I can even edit down here. I can move around down here. And if you look up in this area at that top clip, you can see that when I move the handles here, that orange line grows or shrinks depending on which way I'm moving it, because I'm actually, when I'm moving my handle down here, why did you do that? I think I just grabbed a bunch of your. Okay, because when I'm moving these handles right here, it's basically cutting away portions, digitally cutting away portions of that clip from up top there that I'm housing down here in my timeline. So I can take bigger or smaller chunks of that whole clip. So when I look up here, it says that it's 30 seconds. This clip is 30 seconds long, but I may only be taking, as you can see up here, 11.9 seconds of it. And that's kind of how we start piecing things together. And by pinching together this bottom part or spreading it apart, okay, I'm not shrinking down my footage there. I'm just shrinking down the size of that clip. Because if I have 20 clips down there eventually, I might want to shrink it down so I can see them all there together instead of super spread apart. So pinching together and pinching apart in your timeline doesn't shrink the length of your footage, it just shrinks the size of the visual clip that signifies that footage down there. And so let's say that I'm going to add something to it. So let's say that this is my door scene, and I have my first clip right here, which is 11.9 seconds. And so now I'm going to add my second clip, and it's going to be just a portion of the second piece of footage up there from up top. And I'm just going to press on it, and again hit that little drop there, and oops, it added it to the wrong side because that's where I have this. So in order to move something around, you just press on it and you can move it back and forth. Okay, I press on it and I can move it in front, press on it, move it. Now what you see right here is iMovie on the iPad, that little symbol right there. Okay, that little symbol right there is a transition. And this transition where you have the two arrowheads pointing at each other, that's the universal symbol for a cross dissolve. Okay, so if I were to watch this, again, I'm not on there, I'm not here. If I were to watch this, you'd see the scene cross dissolve into the other scene. Okay, so that transition right there is called a cross dissolve, where you have the scene before getting lighter and the scene before getting coming more into focus. We just bought my wife a birthday present early. She got her midlife crisis Mini Cooper, and the day after we got it, the warning light was on saying that there was something wrong with the front tire. So I've been getting pictures of the little indicator and texting me images of it. That's what that was. Okay, so you can see this cross. I'm here. You can see the cross dissolve.
Something in front of the camera when you're done with the scene.
Okay, yeah.
It makes like a clear.
That is for when you're bringing in your raw footage. When you see that black, then you know in your own head that you're moving from one scene to another.
Oh, so
that's the marker.
Just stop and then.
Yeah, you could.
Okay.
That's just a marker for you.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. It could be. I don't ever do that because when I take footage when I'm shooting video, I stop.
Right.
And when you stop the video, that creates a file.
Okay.
And then when you start a new one, that creates a new file. And so you know what I mean. So
yeah.
Those are markers anyway. That's for people who are using actual video cameras that take time, and they shoot continuous footage. It's usually on a tape, so it's not like you just have these clips. It's continuous on tape. But each of these are clips. So yeah, those cross dissolve is not what's used in the movies. You'll rarely see that. If you want to see someone who uses different kinds of transitions, Steven Spielberg is really big on using different kinds of transitions. Like watch an Indiana Jones movie, and you'll see all kinds of crazy transitions. Okay, Star Wars too. Those movies as well use all kinds. But normal movies just use regular transitions. And so what you can do is if I click on that transition, you'll see it'll highlight it in yellow. And when I click on it and it highlights in yellow, then you'll see that these down here on the bottom open up. These are some different options down here on the bottom. And if I push my little question mark up here, it won't show me, will it? Oh, you stink. Okay. So I can change my transitions down here. So when I press the first one, that's just a straight line that looks like an eye. That is just a straight transition from one scene to the next. Okay, it doesn't do anything. It just keep thinking that So if I were to play it from here, that transition would just be a straight transition. Okay, and that's going to be your most common one. But then, like, they have this one that's like a starburst. You know, if you're looking for something stylistic and something that you want to have fun with and fool around with, it's got this little one that kind of, it was super quick, but it flashed a little black star on there to kind of transition in between the two. Okay, again, I usually use these, but it doesn't really matter. This one's like these are, and they'll show you the transition. This one kind of slides. You can have it slide from left to right, from right to left, up to down. It'll be like a window closing or a window opening. So there's just different options. This one's kind of like a gradient. Okay, or no, that one's actually a fade to black. So there's just those different transitions. You can choose your transitions down there. If you're using Movie Maker or iMovie on the Mac, they've got a lot more transitions, and they're kind of easier to deal with there. But again, that kind of straight transition is usually, for me, the one that I use. So again, I'm just bringing in clips, dropping them into my editor, moving them around if I have to. Again, changing those transitions if I have to. And you can start seeing how, and I know these clips are completely not in order. I'm just using it for an example, how you can start taking, you know, these different shots of video and kind of cobbling them together to start telling a story. And so this is kind of the idea of what we're looking for this week with your door scene, is that you're taking these different shots that you've created and you're putting them in an order. Okay? So you don't need to shoot chronologically on the outset, as long as you're because that's not how they do movies. They don't shoot the movies chronologically. They shoot them, you know, in batches. If we're going to shoot all the scenes that we're going to have on this side of the door right now, we're going to have all the scenes that are happening on the other side of the door next. We're going to have, you know, do the next one. The next shots we're going to take are all going to be from outside looking in and from inside looking out. And so we batch our shots, and then we bring them all in, and then we put them in order. Okay? So we get into those basics, those editing basics, dropping clips down into your timeline, putting them in order. Okay, and one of the things that you're not seeing here, in this area down here, underneath each of the clips, you're not seeing it there because down here, that's where you would see the sound waves. So right here, you'll see this little blue kind of sound wave indicator here is lit up blue. If I press it and turn it off, you can see that those things disappear underneath. So here's a piece of video footage that has sound attached to it. So let's say I just grabbed a little bit of that and I dropped it in. Okay, this footage actually has sound to it. So when I press that sound wave, you can see down below here in this area, you can see the sound waves. Okay, so that when I play it, I should be hearing it. But for some reason I don't. Okay, I can take those sound waves, and if you look down here when I click on this one, it gives me a video and an audio option. So I can not only edit video, but I can also edit audio. Okay, and so if I press on audio, it'll give me the option here to raise the sound up, to take the sound down. Okay, so I can start manipulating the sound, and I don't know why my sound's not working. You're looking for a reason to get an iPad.
Well, I know we have to buy one for the program, but
Is this the first class you've taken?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I thought, I mean, I don't, like, you said it's better to edit on the laptop than the iPad. Is that just for, like, easier?
You know what? Okay. It's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Okay.
It really is just, you know, preference. And I've always edited on my laptop. I've rarely used my iPad for editing. But they keep improving this tool, and it's even better than the last time I used it. Now, there are times where you might want to detach the sound from the clip. And for that, down on the bottom here, there's a detach command. And if I press that, you can see now that it's taken the sound out of the clip and put it down here on its own level. So in any editing tool that you use, you're going to have at least one line, but most likely more lines for video. Like we call those lines tracks. So this is one track of video right here. This one strip across the top of video, and below that now is an audio track. So you'll probably see multiple video tracks and multiple audio tracks so that you can layer them. Okay, let's say I wanted to bring in a sound. I'm still here in audio. Okay, I'm still dealing, I believe, with audio. Let's see. If I press on that, yeah, I'm still dealing with audio. So if I come up here to the audio button, it'll give me some different audio options. And basically at this point, I can pull any sound that I have on my iPad off of my iPad. So if I have music on my iPad that I want to use in the background, I can use it. But iMovie also comes with its own little theme music. So, and I have no idea why my sound's not working.
Why would you have multiple video tracks? Is that like an alternative to like placing it together on one track?
Well, here's a great kind of example here. Let's say that on this piece of video right here, I wanted to bring in a cutaway. I wanted to cut away to something. And let's say that that's what I wanted to cut away to, right up here at the top. Okay. If I then bring it, if I choose this, and I'm gonna turn on my question marks here so that okay, you can see that the second one over there that says add as cutaway. If I press that, you can see that it'll drop that video right on top of this video, so that when I actually play it now, this is a quick and easy way to do a cutaway. Instead of editing in the video, it'll just cut away to it there and then come back to it. So that's a neat way to have a video, two layers of video. Okay. The other one might be if you have students or if you're creating kind of a phone news program, you can always, and this is, I mean, it's just pretty neat the way it does this, is that you can add a picture-in-picture, so that when you have that, you know, the way that you and I think that there is, I know also that there's a way that you can move this. Yeah, you can move it to one side or the other, and you can grow it bigger. There's a way to do that, but I don't remember exactly how to do that. Yeah, I'll have to Google it to figure it out. So if you're creating a news program, you can stack video in that way, so that the video is playing underneath. That can be your kid talking or you talking, and then the little footage of whatever's going on can pop up there in the top corner. Okay, so that's just a couple reasons why you might want to stack video like that. And stacking audio is kind of the same idea. And for some reason, I don't know right now, my audio is not working, but I don't want to restart my iPad to figure out why. I don't have it muted. I know that the volume is turned up. But you also stack audio. Thanks. Like if you wanted to bring in a sound effect and you wanted an alarm or applause, you might choose to drop in that audio. And so now we have our music right here that's playing, and then we might have applause going on at the same time. So you might have multiple audio tracks as well. Okay, and all this, you know, it's pretty intuitive, and it's gotten so much more intuitive in the iPad app, but you just kind of got to know where everything is. right? But in that way now, we've kind of created this real quick video that has sound in the background. We've split an audio clip. We've got a little applause in there. We've got some transitions. We've got a cutaway up here, and we've got a little picture-in-picture. So there's a lot of different tools in the iPad to kind of create your own video. It also has, if you look down here at the bottom, it also has the ability to write in iMovie to record your own video. So if I just wanted to hit that now, I could just kind of record what's going on in here in the classroom. If I go to stop and I would decide I want to use the video, I've got it down there on the bottom right. I can press use video and it'll just instantly add that footage to what I'm doing, which is pretty cool. I think that this is one thing that the iPad has over iMovie, is that you can just instantly add video to it if you need to.
What do you think? You have to do
It's down here at the bottom. So I'm going to press a little question mark again. So down here at the bottom, you see a little camera. And it says record video. What you can do easily, and you do it all the time in both the desktop version of iMovie and the iPad version of iMovie, is record audio. Okay, and so recording audio is what you always do for voiceover. So if I've got some footage of something and I wanted to record my voice over it, which is, as a teacher, this is the way that utilizing video all the time is great, is that you can show students some pictures of different things and you can voice over it, which is pretty cool. So if I just press that record button, it is now, I press record and it is now giving me a little countdown and it's playing. You can see it's playing the video as I do it, so I know exactly where it's recording and it shows me in red exactly where I'm recording. So then when I want to stop, I just press stop, and you can see down here at the bottom now it gives me this area right here where it says recording 1, and so it shows me where it is, and I can actually just, not on my computer, on here on my iPad, I have to accept my finished recording. Then it becomes just a file that I can move around wherever I want. So if it doesn't sync up while you're recording it, don't worry about it, because you can always move it around. Okay, and again on the Mac version of it, you can do that as well. Okay, and there's a lot of features to iMovie that I don't even use, but pretty much, and for the most part, I think that we've covered everything that I can cover with you now, just to get you in some trouble, that you're, that you'll be able to rough cut something together. And so, with that in mind, that is assignment number 4, is to basically just rough cut that door scene together. Okay, just a cohesive short movie with a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, not really asking for any music in the background. If you want to add music, that's fine. If you want to add any sound effects, that's fine. I'm not even asking for any titles yet. Oh, that's the one thing I didn't cover, is titles. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so then we have titles, and again, titles is the term for any word on the screen. So anytime you see words on the screen, that's a title. I want to press video here, so and sometimes, a lot of times, I had audio pressed and I was looking down here for titles and I couldn't see it. I'm like, okay, where is it? What do I have to press? A lot of times it's just a matter of pressing either video or audio. So when I press video, I get down here some different tools that I can use. There's the speed tool, so I can speed up a clip or slow it down. And kind of the universal symbol always in iMovie is to make things faster, it's a rabbit, and make things slower, it's a turtle. So if I wanted to slow that clip down, you can see I can take it to half speed, 1/3 speed, 1/4 speed. In this case, it looks like it's already at the fastest speed that it'll handle. There's a split option. Split options are cool anytime I want to split a clip. Let's say I wanted to drop something in, like I wanted to drop in, some words or a picture or something like that. I can always go right into the middle of my clip. I move my clip to the middle of that white line, and I press down here the word split, and you can see it just split it right there in the middle and put a transition, just a straight transition right in the middle of it. I can create a freeze frame. So wherever it is right now, if that's what we see in our viewer, if I click on freeze, it'll create just a frozen image of that, just the freeze frame, basically. So if I wanted to linger on an image for a certain amount of time, I could do that. And then there's a duplicate. So you can like, it's basically, duplicate is like a copy paste. So if I wanted to copy paste a clip for whatever reason. The one that we're looking at though is title. So let me move down here. So if I wanted to put a title at the beginning of this, make sure I press on the clip, and then you can see the first one right here is title. I press on title, and it's already defaulted down here to none. Okay, and I can choose opening, middle, or closing. And so it kind of drops them in different places depending on which one you choose. I tend to, and this is the one that matches the theme. So when we look at all those different themes, I chose the simple theme. This is the titling that goes with the simple theme. But if I press down here, the box with the T in it, then I can get some different titling options. And it kind of shows me down there what they are. So if I want to choose the focus one, it'll show me what that looks like up in the middle. If I want to choose the pop-up one, it shows me what that'll look like right there. So let's say I decided I wanted to use that title. Oh, I see why it wasn't working. Haha. Love it when that happens. So now it should. No, that's not. And you see right there, there's a little symbol that has the mute sign on my clip. I don't know why it's muted. So I now have a title in here that I can change by just clicking on it in the viewer. So I just pressed on it right here, and then it opens up my keyboard, and I can type in. No, not done yet. Okay, and I can just type in my title. Okay, and that title will last for the entire length of that clip. So let's say that, okay, so this clip right here is 24.2 seconds long, which may be way too long for me to keep a title on my screen. Okay, so what I might do is just have it at maybe for the first 5 seconds or so. So I'll just basically move my clip to right there on that white line, and then I'll split it so that the clip, the title now is only there for that first 5 seconds or so, and then when it moves to the next clip, right, it disappears. That's kind of the secret too. If I put a title on a clip, you can't shorten the title, but you can split the clip. Whereas in iMovie on the Mac, you can dictate the length of the title. On the iPad, it's just different. Transitioning from when you deal with video, either there or here, is it working out? Okay, it shoots, digital video shoots at 29.4 frames per second. So every second, it's like 24 little photographs. Okay, and so it's basically just taking this photograph, which is 1/29th of a second, and transitioning to this photograph, which is 1/29th of a second, and it's doing it like that. So you won't even notice it when it's exported. But when it's in edit mode like this, it may look like a little jump, just because it's in this editor. Then you're good to go. Okay, when you're done with that rough edit of your video, you can back out, and this is just for iMovie for the iPad. This is the universal symbol in iOS for send my thing somewhere. That little one. So when I click on that, it's going to ask me where I want to export it to, and the best place for me to export it to is YouTube. And then you just sign into YouTube, and it boom, sends it there. If you're on your Mac and you're in iMovie on your Mac, and I'm pretty sure that Windows Movie Maker has a send to YouTube feature as well. If it doesn't, then you have to export it to your desktop and then send that movie to YouTube.
But it's that does like the rewind thing.
You got to be able to reverse it. Let me see. I know you can do it in iMovie for the desktop. I have a clip. Speed it, freeze it, duplicate it. I don't know. I always just, let's see, reverse footage, iMovie for iOS. How do you reverse a clip? Guy's got a chiseled jaw. Let's see. Oh, I don't know why I chose this one. Can you add video reverse to iMovie for iOS? And that is in Apple support. So let's see. Make clip play backward in your movie, apply rewind, or it's okay. So I'm trying to find an app now. No, it's here. So here's the actual support one right here, not in the discussion area. The timeline, select a clip. You want to play in reverse. Oh, this is for. That would be for your Mac. Reverse a movie clip. iPad to video converter. I don't know. I'll look it up when I'm not sounding befuddled on this class footage that I'm filming right now. So I'll look it up after class and we'll see if we can figure it out. It seems like it should be there, but if it's not down here on the bottom, then maybe you can't do it. I mean, if it's not down there, it's not under speed. It is, yeah. It's real scaled down from what's from the iMovie that's on your computer. So this is iMovie on the computer, and I'm just bringing it here so that we can look right here real quick. Here's the share, and if you're going to share it, you can just share it to YouTube. Okay. Yeah, but again, yeah, this is the, but still, you know, kind of same idea. You got your viewer up here. You've got your clips up here. You choose a clip. You select a portion of it. You bring it down into your timeline. You can edit it here if you want to. You know, same idea, right? But just kind of it does have more options though, as far as what you can do with your clips. Okay, but ultimately you wanna share it to YouTube and then share it on the in the Google Plus community. Okay, so let's look at the other task for this week. Okay, so this the kind of main assignment for this week. That rough cut shouldn't take you too long. It's basically just splicing together your things in order, getting you familiar with the ins and outs of your video editor. This project is you're basically going to use whatever video editing software you're going to use to create a digital biography or an historical event story. Digital story is basically a movie version of a slideshow, complete with audio and, if you can find video, using historical photographs from the Library of Congress archive, and that's a link to it there. I'll just kind of let that open and give it some time to open up. Or personal pictures of your own history. You developed a slideshow to tell a story with still photos as opposed to a video footage. And so this project needs to include still photos, and we talk about this Ken Burns motion effect, and I'll talk about that in a sec. Transitions, narration, titles, and background music. And so I've got, oh, it looks like that one's not good. But this is a video that was just created by a student in 514. I did a piece on Muhammad Ali.
On January 17, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky, Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. was born. Growing up in the segregated South likely contributed to Clay's passion for boxing. At the age of 12, he began working out at a local gym, and in 1954 won his first fight, later becoming the Golden Gloves champion in 1956 and the AAU National Light Heavyweight title holder in 1959. In 1960, Clay won a spot on the U.S. Olympic boxing team.
Okay, I'm going to mute it for a sec. So from the get-go, when iMovie first came out, they had this feature called the Ken Burns effect. So Ken Burns is a documentarian. The big one they just had out was on the Roosevelts. We've got 7 hours of Roosevelts on our DVR right now that I'm just waiting to get to. And anyway, so Ken Burns, he popularized this this effect where the photograph basically, it's like a camera scanning across a photograph. So these are all photographs, but they all have movement to them. Okay, and so it's built into iMovie. If you're using Windows Movie Maker, then I don't think it has it. So if you're using that tool, then you don't need to use it. But it's built in to iMovie, both the iPad version and the desktop version. The iPad version is pretty easy to use. If I were to bring in a photo, oh, I can't click on it there. I have to click on it here. If I were to bring in a photo, let's see. You click on that one. Okay, so I drop in this picture here, and when I play it, hopefully it'll play faster. You can see it just automatically uses the Ken Burns effect. See that by doing that, it'll then change the Ken Burns motion on the picture. Okay, so that's the way you do it on the iPad. It's just by selecting either that we pinch it to start, like I want it to start there, and I want it to end there, and then I kind of see what that looks like. So I can kind of play around with that. Okay, movie. Let's just say that I want to come here and add a freeze frame. Let's come this way. Well, again, they should just drop in that effect. So just I mean, I can leave that completely up to you. That's just kind of your call on how you utilize that. Okay. And again, that's just an effect that kind of adds a little bit of flair to it. But at the end of the day, it's not you're not looking to create the video to use the Ken Burns effect. You're just utilizing it when you want to. You know what I mean? And so in iMovie, where is it? Oh, it might just see that as an image, as not an image but a freeze frame. Yeah, I would need to bring in a photo. I mean, if you're on your Mac, it gives you access to all the photos in your library, in your iPhoto library, all the songs in your iTunes, everything in your GarageBand. So there, we'll just use like this turtle. There we go. Yeah, so under the crop symbol up here, that would be the universal symbol for cropping. We get this Ken Burns tool here, and you can see that the way it's already set up is that the start is kind of this full picture, and then the end here is that. And so you can kind of change the end to be that, and the start to be like over here, and then we kind of see what that looks like. Or not. All right, where are you, green? Okay. That's bizarre. I don't know why that turned green like that. No, no. I don't know why it's doing that. It's weird. But yeah, that's where you you deal with the Ken Burns effect. Is when you bring it down there, you use the crop tool. But again, it'll just kind of it automatically seeks out how to use it. But as you can see in Phil's example right here, some of his transitions, his Ken Burns transitions, were a little weird. So when it brings in that Ken Burns effect, sometimes it'll kind of like, it was on one of these, where you can kind of see it kind of started off at the face and went down to the middle of the body. It was kind of an odd transition. So you kind of want to look and see if it does that to any of them. And so yeah, there's a tutorial down here on using the Ken Burns effect in iMovie. And if we can get down here. Okay, so this is our process for this project. You're going to choose the photos you'll be using to tell your story, and in what order those photos will be presented. And then you can develop a storyboard detailing what your voiceover narration will be at each photo. And his was like 5 minutes long. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes long. If it's a couple minutes long, that's fine. It can really be on anything. It can be on something personal. can be on a historic, something that happened in history. It could be on, the life of a writer or the plot of a book or whatever. As long as you have pictures to accompany it and it's got your voiceover, that's really what we're looking for. So that storyboard can actually just be you just kind of putting the photos in that you're going to use and then writing what you're going to say over it, so that you have a script to work with as you're voicing over. So you're going to bring your photos into iMovie or your other video editor and design the path of the Ken Burns effect for each. Narrate your story using iMovie voiceover. You don't need to purchase a microphone. Laptop mic, iPad mic are perfectly fine. Bring in titles where appropriate, so at least the beginning at the end, or the end. If there's anything you need, any titles you need in the middle, you can put them in there if you want. Place appropriate transitions in between photos. And I just give you the suggestion there that make sure your transitions are consistent. You don't need to use every single transition just because they're there. I don't know if you guys remember the old days of PowerPoint when, back in the days when I used to assign PowerPoints to kids, I would have kids that would have these slides with full pages, like all the text on it, and each letter would come with a gunshot. Each letter, and it was just like, okay, really? Well, we're waiting there for it all to, so, and that was always the message. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to use it. So, just, transitions in between photos. One of the ones that he used that I like was the one that looked like the page peeling down. That one's in iMovie on here, but not on the iPad. And then, bless you, bring in appropriate background music. So there's different sites out there where you can find royalty-free music. That's music that you don't have to pay for, and that is free to utilize for anything. It's and you can go to this site called the Free Music Archive. I'm going to click on that, let it open up. If iMovie stock background music doesn't suit you, again, iMovie has that different stock background music. Okay. There is a feature called ducking that I don't think it has it on the iPad, but it does have it on iMovie for your Mac. And basically, it's in, I think it's in this background music. And basically, what ducking is that the term ducking means is when the music lowers when you're speaking. So the music is still consistent in the background, but the volume drops when you speak, and then comes back up when you're not speaking. Okay, and it's a real quick and easy tool to do it in iMovie.
So if we're doing storyboarding, if you do a storyboard and then as a director you decide to make the work you do in filming or editing, go then back and I did like my pre-storyboard, and then it sat on the grass the entire time I was filming, and then when I went back to it, I was like, oh, I need to redo this. So I just
which shots are edit, like, taken.
No, I mean, did you just take a whole bunch of footage? Yeah, but because of how the person acted, it didn't work. Like sometimes she looked at the camera or draw. I don't know. It's like the shot. I had to just pick which one's worked.
I see it as more of like a pre-write, like a brainstorm.
And it's I kind of use I always use the analogy of being a roadmap, and sometimes it's something that gets you from here to here. But a lot of times when you're driving, you want to veer off to check out, some roadside oddities, So it's definitely in place there to help. But you're always going to make shifts and changes along the way, and that doesn't mean you have to go back and redo your storyboard. It's just that storyboard is there, and it's a document that lived at that time, and then
have the film record of it.
Right. There's a different process that takes place then. Yeah. And so this will also be a thing that that I will have a category in Google Plus for in the Google Plus community that you can upload to YouTube and then share there. Okay. You have two potential things that we're sharing this week. One is just that rough footage of your door scene, and then the kind of rough cut of your door scene, and then this project. So this is one that, and I often use the term, you're like Alice down the rabbit hole. This can be one of those projects that puts you down the rabbit hole. And so if it starts turning out that way for you, and you just like, this is a lot of work and I don't think I'm going to have it done by next Wednesday, then just let me know.
How long did you have it to be, or how many?
Just a couple of minutes. It can be anywhere from like 2 to 5 minutes. Okay. Again, this is giving you the practice. What's that?
They're both due next week.
Yeah. Because that rough cut shouldn't take you more than, half hour. Yeah, I'm not looking for much. I'm just. Does it? Okay. Yeah, some of your.
I've never even edited before. So
some of our our processes are different. So the thing I'm going to ask you to do is kind of make me a partner in your process. Let me know where you are. Let me know what's going on. If you're getting into full like panic mode, because more than any other class that I teach, this is the one that I often get like panicked, like day before class, like I'm not anywhere near done. I'm not going to have it finished. I don't, Okay, just again, make me a partner and we'll figure something out. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to make this good video at the end. I have no idea how to make a video.
Yeah. It's a frustrating thing that what they do with this program is they try. I mean, it's a double-edged sword because they want to hook you up with a class to get you in the program and to get you going through the program, but they can't always do it in order. And so taking these classes out of order is tough. I mean,
yeah.
You took 515 before 512. 512 is the entry-level class. It's productivity for teachers. It's going through all of the kind of basics. And 515 is the advanced class. Yeah. So 515 is the next step after 512, and you took them flip-flop. Yeah. So and you took the one that expected you to know all this stuff before. Yeah. So it's like, it can be challenging.
Which is the way I learned anyway. Yeah. So it's better for me to learn by just.
Yeah. Well, and as an instructor in this program, I get that, and I know that. So, again, I'm completely receptive to working with anybody as far as, I need extra help, I need extra time, I don't get, so.
So for when you say draw from the video, you mean?
The door video?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean just like finished product for us, but it's gonna look rough. Yeah.
What you this is what I expect. I expect you to have your shots edited in order. That's it.
And that would be it?
That's good enough for me. It doesn't have to have music behind it. It doesn't have to look perfect. The transitions don't need to be, spot on and perfect. I just want you to start getting the sense of using your video editor to put things in order, even though they might not have been shot in order. And your clips are of different lengths. So you're just kind of getting practice putting in a cutaway shot, putting in a close-up, cutting it here and dropping something in. That's just to give you the practice of putting things in order. Okay? Then the next project will be utilizing a lot of the other editing elements, but not having to worry about shooting any video. So we're just bringing in pictures to tell a story and adding sound and titles, so that we're kind of taking things piecemeal before we start doing them all together. Because your final and culminating assignment in this is basically a 3-week project. So for the last 3 weeks of class, you're going to have one project that you're working on. And it's basically taking all these elements together and creating one long form, 5 minutes plus video that teaches something to the students. Okay? So you're taking all these different elements and connecting them together for the final project. Okay? But, I'm kind of doling out to you a little bit at a time. Okay? So if you are that perfectionist and you're just like, it's not right, you're going to have to really fight that on this door thing because it's supposed to be rough. Okay? It's supposed to be. Hey, here's the thing though. If you want to put music, if you want to knock yourself out, I mean, I don't.
She got her video taken off the YouTube.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. Sorry.
And it had the Seahawks logo on it.
Using all kinds of corporately owned stuff. Yeah.
Oh, a Seahawks picture that was already on the internet.
So that is. So there's there's a bunch of there are a bunch of videos here to help you out, adding transitions in iMovie, adding voiceover in iMovie, adding background music, adding titles. So there's a lot of different videos here that you can utilize. If you're not, these are all for iMovie on the Mac. Okay. If you're using a different tool, these are all the videos that I have up higher, all the way up here for iOS movie for iOS 7. Okay. This has a lot of stuff in it, and again, YouTube is your friend. Okay. So you just, if you're looking for something specific, like reversing a video clip in iMovie, go to YouTube, go to Google, look it up. Okay, the information's all out there. And if you do that and you're just like, I can't find anything, then let me know. Or throw it in the community and say, I'm looking for this. Anytime someone puts something in the community, I get an email. So if you put it in there, it's just like email. Okay? Any questions, thoughts, challenges, opinions? Cool. All right. Then we got this done in under 2 hours, which is good. Any questions from home? Hopefully you're still there.
Nope. Good. Nope.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to stop this broadcast. I will be posting this on the website. Tatum, your videos and clips right now. So did you got that question answered, right? That I just want you to rough cut it and post it to YouTube. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. You two have a great night. I'm gonna stop our broadcast.